So what does Kami put out a tweet, and I'll read the tweet right here. He said, "People being mad Luke players are winning makes no sense considering, and we know that Luke basically right now is somebody who's terrorizing the last season of Street Fighter Five. Tokido's best season was not Street Fighter Two. Season two Akuma, Punks was season two Karen, Problem X was a broken Abigail, Atani was season one, season two Nikali, Smug was season two Balrog, all Mikas was season one. Every one of your favorite players, all your favorite players because of broken characters. Also, the people saying Problem is not known for his. Okay, we don't have to talk about that one. But yeah, so basically that's what he said, and he said he's standing on what he said. So, how do you feel, Mr. Game and Live? Do you feel like a lot of our favorite players are known for top tiers, and do you feel like it's necessary to play top tiers um, to really achieve a level where you can be among the greatest of the greatest? If you want to be the very best that no one ever was.
Um, I think there's some truth to that. It's like I said when on the FGC quickie, it's like a double-edged sword. There is some truth, and again, I think this really more so applies now to Street Fighter Five. Like I mentioned in that video, Street Fighter Five, as opposed to previous games and just any fight game really in this era that we in right now, is a lot more competitive. It's a lot more involved in esports. There's a lot more money being handed around, a lot more events. I mean, you got Capcom Pro to all these events, $100,000. Like people, if you have the talent to be a good player and you have the talent to be a good fighting game player, competitive, it's like really if all this money is on the line, you would rather have the best option, the best tool at your disposal to have the best chance of winning. So it makes sense in that regard. And with like I said again, Street Fighter Five is a game that has been a lot more money's been involved in like the competitions. And I mentioned earlier that your favorite player, I don't think is necessarily the same thing. Like just because they play top tier, there could be differences such as like, okay, you might play the same character, but a person plays characters different. Everybody has different play styles. I know Street Fighter Five was a game that wasn't, especially early on, it wasn't too much like personal expression in terms of like when you saw Street Fighter Four play when like different people play different characters, you could tell like, oh, that's so and so playing that. That's Stanford Kelly playing Sagat. That's Bonchan playing Sagat. You could kind of tell like with their tendencies. So I think you still can make that argument that okay, maybe like a lot of people playing the same characters, but people still have different tendencies. They make decisions differently. You might have this one player, he plays Luke, but you like the way he whiff punishes. He whiff punishes like no other Luke. So that's why he's your favorite player because yeah, he plays Luke, but his whiff punish is just like insane. You don't see anybody else whiff punish like he does, or this person, their defense is like just ironclad. Like nobody blocks mix ups and can guess as much like this person does. So there's still
Sponsored by
like
Legos.
differences. What'd you say?
Said sponsored by Legos.
Yeah, man. Like I still need to make that a thing, man. But yeah, you have somebody that has a really ironclad defense, so those could be reasons why they're your favorite players outside of them playing top tiers. But I do understand what he's getting at. I do think that there are some people that like, hey, he wins a lot, so that's my favorite player. And if we're honest about it, people like seeing a person win. Well, people like seeing a person win. Then when they start winning too much, people almost like, all right, you're winning too much. So it's like it's almost sometimes it's a double edged thing again. But for the most part, people do like seeing winners. So if you're winning, like, oh, he won, just like Punk. Punk is a great player. Punk played Karen. He was terrorizing people with Karen a lot early on in Street Fighter. But I wouldn't say that anybody that said Punk is their favorite player, I wouldn't just say that because he was winning. Like he was really good. Like he was kind of playing Karen like nobody else at that time. Like honestly, like he was. I watched him play. He would make some of the craziest whiff punishes. Like he would just optimize every situation. He was really good at imposing his will on you and just kind of just the game plan just fell apart for you. So I would say watching him playing Karen, like he kind of had that it factor when he came to playing Karen. So again, like I said, if you got money on the line, why not pick the best option? I said again something that I said on the FTC quickie, like if I got a rock that I'm trying to break, there's no point in me going to the kitchen and grabbing a butter knife when I know that I could possibly break this rock with this butter knife, but it's gonna take me a really long time and it's gonna be really difficult to do. But if I get this hammer over here that's specifically designed to smash this rock just like I need, why not use the rock, the hammer? So it's like there's no point in using some other tool that's less capable of getting the job done when I can use this one. And again, just because you use top tier does not mean you're gonna be good with that character because you still gotta learn how to use this character. I think some people think that there's a thing of you picking top tier, so it's just gonna be easy. No, you still gotta learn how to use this character. They have good tools, but you still have to learn how to utilize those tools. So I definitely see where Kami is coming from, and I definitely say there's some truth in it. That I do think that some people would say that XYZ player is their favorite player because they use top tiers and they win a lot with that top tier. But I still think there's a great number, equal or maybe even more, that are just people that have seen people play for like let's say because it's almost like you're diminishing what the person did before. There's a lot of people that like watching Taquito. I know Rexon, he loves watching Taquito, but he's like Taquito has been his favorite player for a long time outside of just Street Fighter Five or one of his favorite players. He's not just because he saw him winning in Street Fighter Five or doing good in Street Fighter Five. It's people have been playing games before Street Fighter Five, so I think that's kind of a stretch to say that's my favorite. I just like this person because somebody might like Justin Wong because he's been great in other games. I like watching him play these games, so I'm just gonna still root for him. He's my favorite player in five. So it's kind of a great area there. It's like there's some truth to it, but I think it's more than just a person using the top tier. But I get what he's saying. There's so much money going around nowadays than it used to. It's like I got to use the best tool.
In regards to talking about using the best tool, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the whole thing is like if you're trying to win a match, then that just seems natural, right? Like what else are you going to do other than use like the thing that gets you the best results? Like for me personally, when I'm choosing a character, like you guys know this, I use Rule of Cool. Now it's a double-edged sword, right? Because sometimes you pick like a character who's like cool, like a mid-tier character, or maybe even a high-tier character. But sometimes you choose like a character who's like complete garbage, and you just have to hold that L. And most of the times, though, it does. Like I remember one time when I was playing Blaze Blue, it was the first one actually, Calamity Trigger. When the first one came out, and I was like, oh man, who's the coolest looking character to me in this game? It's Arakune. And Arakune was one of the best characters in the game. And I used to be like, what, really? And then when you really think about it, the way that Arakune worked in that game, it's like, yeah, I mean, like, because for those of you who didn't play like Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger when it came back in the olden days, unlike how it is now, where if like, he has like a timer on the curse mark. Back then, you could curse somebody and they had to hit you in order to in order to get the curse off them. Now you would think maybe that's not too difficult, except for the fact that Arakune is pretty evasive. He floats around a lot, like his jumps, like he can float around. And then if you get him to the edge of the screen, like you put his back against the wall, if he back dashes while he's in the air at the edge of the screen, he leaves and goes to the other side of the screen. So it was really difficult to like get a beat on him sometimes, and like all you had to do is hit him once, but he will make you work for that one hit. So yeah, man, like that. As a person playing the game at that time, I didn't have to work as hard as other people did in order to win a match. Like that's just the way it was. And like if you're trying to win a match, and like we're talking about having money on the line, you don't want to be stressed out, or God forbid you're working against the mechanics of the character. Like that's what happens a lot is people choose a character that's like lower tier or something like that, and you're actively having to fight against the character as well as the opponent and their character. There's already enough variables going on in the game. Anything could happen. I mean, you've seen the kind of like ridiculousness that transpires like with the advent of Twitch clips and everything like that. I mean, people clip all the time, like all types of outrageous things happening during the match. And you're just kind of like, why did that happen? Well, it doesn't matter. You just lost the match, this like act of God in the middle of the match happened, and now and you are now the you thought for a minute, oh, you thought you're going to win, but like no, like God, like but literally the clouds parted. God reached down and took that win from you and replaced it with an L and said, "Yeah, that's it for you, bro. You're done for 0-2." So I mean, it happens, man, and you don't want that's already baked in. You know what I mean? That is already baked in as something that is likely to happen. It's not guaranteed, but it is very likely. So with that knowledge, you don't want to play with it. You don't really want to play with a character that has like this thing where, oh man, every time I punch somebody, I explode and I lose half my health. You don't want that. You want somebody who like punches people like 3 times and they're dead. Like that's it. Well, I mean, it's all about, what was it? This Retribution. He's a Soul Calibur player, and we're talking about we were having dinner one time. It was like the Collisions group, and talking about the Pythagorean theorem, right? You know, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. You know, and we were talking about that in essence of what's called of League of Legends. You know, trying to get through the jungle and stuff like that to like either get away from somebody or to reinforce your team. But when it comes to fighting games, the idea is there are 2 points: your health being full and your health being depleted at 0. I'm trying to find the shortest distance between you being alive and you being dead every single match. Like that is the practical application of the Pythagorean theorem in every single fighting game, is to find the fastest route between you standing up and you being on the ground, right? And if that is your goal, if that is your God's honest goal, then you pick a hot top tier. Now, are you going to be good with that character, like Mr. Gameless said? That remains to be seen. You have to, you got to train up. You got to learn the character. You got to learn how other characters, interact with your character. But I mean, if you got a character that doesn't have to deal with a lot of the outrageousness, they have like a pretty solid foundation. They got good moves. They got good range. They're decently fast. They don't need to be like super fast. They don't need to be like Chip Zanif or anything like that. But you don't want them to be too slow, right? I mean, but what it really comes down to is, focus, like Mr. Gameless said, once again, the best tool for the job. What is the best tool for the job? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to like go out and dig a hole with a tuning fork. You know what I mean? You're not going to bring out a tuning fork to like dig a hole, are you? I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be a very good idea. Like, that is a very, very real thing you could do, but I wouldn't advise it. If you want to get the best results, if you want to, like I said, shortest distance between 2 points, not having a hole dug and having a hole dug. Are you going to use a tuning fork? Sure, you could, but that's not going to put you on the shortest distance between 2 points. You need a shovel. Why? Because that is going to get you the results you want as quickly as possible in the most efficient manner. And this is why we talk about using top tiers. Anytime somebody uses a top tier in a game, any top player, that, like I said, the practical application of the Pythagorean theorem in fighting games every single time. And they're living that truth, man. And I can't even be mad at that, man. Like, you pick the top tier, I'm like, you know what? You got it, bro. I can't blame you. I'm going to keep playing like this mid-tier, like Miguel, for a while, but good luck, man. You got Zafina. I mean, it's going to be a fight, but you're probably going to beat me. Like, if we're basically around the same skill level, and a lot of times, if your character is like just has that one thing that makes you win it's either by an inch or a mile. Either way, nobody cares, right? Because what it comes down to is you got the W and I didn't. So, yeah. I mean, am I wrong? Like, that's just the way it works. Like, I mean, it's like you won, I didn't. Now I might win next time, but then of course in that instance, now I have to start like because if you're like capitalizing on my character's deficiencies, now you're putting me in a position where I have to start compensating for that. Like I have to start making adjustments based on my character's deficiencies instead of like trying like, you know, focusing more on the deficiencies instead of capitalizing on the strengths. Now, yeah, I would say, yeah, man, like the whole instance of like being a top tier, somebody playing top tier characters, I think like that really it kind of speaks to people's ability, like players' ability to like kind of like, you know, like be like more efficient. Like it's like the efficiency of people who know the game and have learned the game and are like really, really in it, man. And I gotta respect that. I think that is I respect it, and I think it's definitely the one of the best ways to play the game. You know, especially if you're going for the win every time. You might as well just pick the top tier because that's going to get you the results you want, man. And what it comes down to is like results. That's what it is. Like at the very end of the day, what's the number on on the left and the right side of that little dash? Is it 8-0? Is it 7-1? Or is it 0-2? You know?
All right, well, I appreciate you leaving me some leftovers, you and Devin, for the talk on this topic. You know, it's a little bit of skin left on the bone, but I'll take it. I mean, we just gonna keep this real. We gonna keep it a bean, as the young folks say nowadays. Devin, let me ask you a question. When you was in college and you was taking like drawing 15 when you was like in them higher levels, when they told you had to go draw and stuff like that, did you go to Family Dollar and buy the $5 pack of Crayola color pencils to do it?
I can confirm that I definitely did not. I went
Be-
to a place where one pencil costs $5 itself.
Exactly, because that tool helps you get the job done as efficient and great as possible. I mean, Crayola crayons. They color pencils. One thing I ain't like about them, they drew so thick, like without even trying. It's like, man, I wanted to be kind of thin. It's just thick automatically, but that's besides the point. Um, I can remember, when you on the freeway and you want to go to 0 to 200 miles per hour in 5 seconds, you didn't go buy the new Honda Civic. You went and got the new Bugatti, right?
Of course. I mean, what else would you be driving, man, at that point if you really need that need for speed?
Or the Lambo, or whatever it is,
Yeah, whichever one I'm feeling that goes with my outfit at the time.
And when I do photography at gaming events, and I know it's gonna be super dark, people gonna be popping off, moving fast, and all that other stuff. I don't go break out the new the old school Nikon Coolpix, the one with the zoom lens that already come attached to the body that you can't remove and stuff like that. That's shooting 2 megapixels. Of course I could. But then you gonna have the hardest job known to man. Is basically like just trying to take a picture with a squirrel at that point. So bro, like if you want to get a job done efficiently as possible, especially when stuff is on the line and you're going against other people, why are we not, like we were saying before, like it's like a boxer, instead like you're a talented boxer finna go to the championships, and you're just like, you know what, instead of getting a world-class coach, I'm gonna get Uncle Roy for the be my coach. He looked like he got some stuff when I saw him knock out that dude behind the gas station one time. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He don't know nothing about it. And everybody knows, like, people do it when they're trying to be the best. There's money on the line. It's me against you. I'm trying to get you up out of here. Like he said, I'm trying to make this as straight a line as I possibly can. Like, let's keep it a bean. When Leroy came out in Tekken 7, how many people was playing him?
Oh my God, man.
When Dragon Ball Fighters first came out, how many people was playing Kid Goku and Bardock? When Android 21 came out, how many people was playing him?
Oh my gosh.
When UMVC3 was at its apex, Devin, how many people had Virgil, Zero, and Doom as a team? I mean, how many people played Chun-Li in Third Strike? I mean, one of the GOATs, Justin Wong, played her. How many people when Custom Jackie was out and MK11 was playing her. I mean, when Guilty Gear Strive came out, how many people was Gorilla and was Soul Bad Guy?
Better call Toll.
Like, let's keep it real. Like, everybody trying to win. It's the point of the fighting games. Like, we're trying to win. Now, yes, I mean, if we're just saying there's no tournament, no money on the line, and everybody's just playing, having fun, of course you could have, you know, a pocket this. Sometimes I like to break out that, you know, this is fun, that's fun, especially in UMVC. Like, after a while, people just started doing wonky stuff with wonky different teams, you know.
Yeah.
But when we was at tournament and it was time to get it in, you know, wasn't nobody picking Iron Fist. Like, let's be real. Like, wasn't nobody doing it. Like, so when there's money on the line, you know, bragging rights on the line, you know, top placings on the line, I'm trying to win, bro. Like, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to find the tool that matches with my skill set as optimal as possible, as best as possible. And I'm trying to punch you in the nose until your health bar go down. Like, that's just basically it.
Yep.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, yeah, if a game releases to where like almost everybody in the cast is just like it's evenly balanced and stuff, then okay, yeah, we'll just see who's the best, you know, as far as like my skill against your skill. But like, look, if I'm trying to win, like, I mean, ain't no shame in some people's game and just come in there and take the controller and just rub their nose across it and, you know, get first place. You know, just from the character being that dope. You know, how many? I mean, you know, E has talked about Dark Phoenix and I can't control it. And you know, how many people was just like when you hear that, it's like, death is near. Death is near. And the person who was controlling it was like Birdman hand rubbing. So I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it, man. I mean, you know, I'm trying to win, you trying to win. I mean, if I'm coming up here with Luke and you still trying to do this with, you know, what's the dude name? Alex. I mean, hey, bro, you selected him, not me. So, that's all I got to say. Anybody else got anything to add?